So let's get right into it. What if I told you there's a way to get way fitter in a fraction of the time? A method that doesn't mean spending hours and hours at the gym, but instead it unlocks your body's most powerful biological switches in just a few minutes. Well, it's real, and the science behind it is absolutely fascinating.
You know, this all started for health expert Barbara Oneill when she was staying with a friend. This friend, who was twice her size, invited her on a 5-kilometer morning walk. Now, Barbara thought of herself as pretty active, always busy, so she said sure. But 3 kilometers in, she was completely wiped out. The next day, her legs were so sore she could barely even move. And that experience, well, it perfectly captures the problem that so many of us face.
That really humbling walk taught Barbara a huge lesson, and it leads us right into our first big idea, untangling this busy versus fit myth.
So many of us think that because we're on our feet all day, running errands, doing chores, just constantly moving, that's the same as targeted exercise, but it's really not. Even people who are super consistent, hitting the gym 3 times a week, they often find that their fitness just isn't improving. I mean, it's better than doing nothing for sure, but they've hit a wall. They're stuck.
So, the big question is, how do you break through that wall? Well, that brings us to a much smarter way to exercise. This is all about working smarter, not just longer.
And the solution is something called interval training. It's really just what it sounds like. You exercise in intervals. You go all out, as hard and as fast as you possibly can for a really short burst. That's the high-intensity part. And then you slow way down, you catch your breath, that's your recovery. You just repeat that cycle a few times, that's it.
And listen, this is not some new fitness fad. We're talking way back in the 1930s, German physiologists were using this to give their athletes a serious competitive edge. Then in the 80s and 90s, a Japanese trainer named Tabata had his figure skaters doing these tiny 20-second bursts of insane intensity. And they started breaking records left and right. And today, you have doctors like Doug McGoof using it with his heart patients and seeing just incredible results. So why? Why does this work so incredibly well?
To really get that, we have to go micro. We have to look inside the engine room of our bodies, our cells. See, our cells have 2 main ways of making energy. The first one is called the anaerobic pathway. Just think of this as the fast lane. When sugar, or glucose, enters the cell, it kicks off this super quick 20-step process. It's lightning fast, it doesn't need any oxygen, but it's really inefficient. You only get a measly 2 units of energy out of it. Now contrast that with the second system, the aerobic pathway. This is the powerhouse. It's a much slower 8-step process that happens inside our mitochondria. But just look at the difference. It requires oxygen, but it produces a massive 36 units of energy. This is your long-haul endurance fuel.
Now, most of the time, these 2 systems are working together pretty nicely. But what happens when you push yourself to the absolute limit during one of those intense bursts?
Okay, this is where we need to bust a huge myth. We've all felt that burn in our muscles and been told, oh, that's lactic acid, it's a waste product, it's bad for you. Well, that's just not true. What's actually happening is that the fast lane is producing fuel, the stuff called pyruvate, way faster than the slow powerhouse can use it. So the body does something brilliant. It stores that extra fuel as lactic acid. It's not waste at all. It's literally energy waiting in the wings. And that leads us to the most surprising part of this whole thing. The real magic isn't happening when you're going all out. It happens in the moments right after, during your recovery. In that recovery time, your liver converts that stored lactic acid back into fuel and feeds it right into the powerhouse. This means your body is still burning fuel at an incredibly high rate, even after you've slowed down. Your recovery isn't a break, it's when the real work is actually getting done. And this unique metabolic state, it sets off an incredible chain reaction in your body, starting with the release of something people often call the youth hormone. So when you do interval training consistently, you're basically teaching your body to become a way more efficient engine. You start burning through all your quick-burning sugar stores. And when that happens, your body signals for a much more powerful fuel source, your own body fat. And just look at the power difference here. Sugar gives you 4 calories of energy per gram. Fat gives you 9 calories per gram. That's more than double the fuel.
So what's the master switch that tells your body to go from being a sugar burner to a fat burner? It's a chemical messenger called human growth hormone, or HGH. Your body floods your system with it in response to this kind of intense exercise.
And the benefits of HGH are just wow. It activates the enzymes that literally break down your fat stores for fuel. It helps your body use protein better to build and repair muscle.
It even increases blood flow to your skin, which helps it stay elastic. And get this hormone stays active in your body for a full 24 hours after your workout is done. You know, some celebrities pay thousands for this stuff, and your body makes it for free.
Now, I'm going to show you a number that might be a little jarring. 40%. What do you suppose that represents?
Well, according to a long-running study, that's the average amount of lung capacity people have lost by the time they hit age 50. It explains why we get out of breath so much easier as we get older. But here's the amazing part. It is not permanent. You can reverse it. High-intensity exercise is one of the best ways to force your lungs to expand and start reclaiming that lost capacity.
Okay, so this all sounds amazing in theory, right? But how do you actually do it? Let's talk about making this practical for you, right now.
First, we need a complete mindset shift. This is so important. Real fitness is not measured by how fast you can run or how much you can lift at your peak. It's measured by how quickly your body can recover from that peak effort. As you get fitter, you'll notice that recovery time gets shorter and shorter. That is the real sign that you're making progress.
Dr. Al Sears came up with this brilliant acronym, PACE. It stands for Progressive Acceleration of Cardiopulmonary Exertion. The key word in all of that is progressive. You start wherever you are today. I mean, there's a story about a woman who, for her, a 7-second burst of intensity took her 15 minutes to recover from. But within days, that recovery time started dropping. Your fitness journey grows with you at your pace.
And this, for me, is the most empowering part of it all. You don't need to go for an hour-long jog. You don't even need 20 minutes. All you need is intention. One study had incredible results with people who were totally unfit just by having them do 7 seconds. 7 seconds of high intensity followed by recovery. Anybody can do 7 seconds.
So, I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. If you've got 15 minutes, what's the better choice? A slow, steady jog that pretty much keeps you stuck on that fitness plateau, or a short, intentional workout that can literally rebuild your lung capacity, turn your body into a fat-burning machine, and release a flood of youth-promoting hormones that keep working for the next 24 hours. The choice really is yours.